Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to Sports Tonight. I'm sports producer Scott Pennyman. We have Emily Gagnon once again over at Truist Park getting ready for Game 2 of the Braves and Mets. Emily, how's it going?
What's up, Scott? Yeah, nice little atmosphere going on so far. I gotta say, like last night when I was watching the game, because obviously I started my night here, but then I went back to the studio, so I wasn't able to stay here all night.
Right.
The crowds have been coming out, and I said that about the Dodgers series, but they're surprising for this Mets series. I mean, it's thick in here, thick.
Yeah, so, all kind of, outside of base. I know you're at the baseball park, right? But we're going to start tonight with, of course, the biggest news in sports. Lionel Messi coming to the MLS. He's going to be playing for Inter Miami, and it seems like when you look at all of the contractual things that he'll be receiving, it's pretty much like he got a piece of the franchise, right? That's kind of crazy. 35 years old. He's headed to the MLS, headed to the United States. What do you think about that?
I think that when the MLS came here to Atlanta, when Atlanta United got started here, didn't even have a stadium to play in. They played at Georgia Tech their first season. That was 6 years ago. Someone absolutely told me that soccer was the future here in the U.S. and that just give it 10 to 20 more years and the MLS would be as big as the NFL. I don't know if we're there yet, but this is a huge step in that direction. Because when you get superstars, and I'm talking about superstars because Messi, make no mistake about it, he is one heck of a star. Coming to the U.S. to play in the league, that's when you know the sport is doing something that's right. And it's going to be popular, and people in Miami are going to go crazy. And the crowds are going to come out, and that's how it starts. That's how popularity in any sport starts. So this is a big move for Inter Miami, but a huge move for the MLS.
Yeah, I mean, he's my biggest NFL. That's kind of crazy. It's kind of hard for me to imagine that, right? I mean, I know it's called football around the world, but when I think football, I'm thinking NFL. But yeah, you're right. I mean, around the world, soccer is crazy, and the MLS. I mean, look, I was kind of surprised when I first moved here and I saw Atlanta United just drawing as much as they did, and just how popular soccer is and is becoming. So yeah, I mean, anytime you can add a star like him to the mix, it just makes you kind of wonder where this thing is going, right? I mean, it just, for me, it's just big. I mean, just to see, just how much they actually gave him to come here and play. So yeah, man, it almost has me excited. And I'm not even a soccer guy, but yeah, I mean, anytime you have a star of this magnitude, I've heard about the guy seem like forever. So anytime you have a star of that magnitude, it's probably going to get more people like me who aren't natural soccer fans, but might tune in just to see what all the hoopla is all about, right?
I mean, he just won the World Cup. Thiago Almada, Atlanta United's player, was on that roster, won the World Cup with him for Argentina. And so it's going to bring a lot of interest, obviously, from the fans here in the U.S. that like soccer outside of this country, but it'll also allow other fans from around the world to start tuning in, to start watching. So this isn't just a move that's going to affect the U.S. It's a move that's going to affect countries. It's going to affect the sport in ways that, a lot of Americans who are interested in soccer will watch games, international games going on in the Premier League, matches going on around the world. Well, that's what's going to happen with a move like this. Now there's going to be fans from around the world watching the MLS. It's a huge move for the league, as I said, but also it's a money move because a ton of money is going to get poured into the MLS now, thanks to people from other countries wanting to watch Messi. And this is just the beginning, right? Because you got to believe if Messi's going to come over here and play, some other star players are going to say, well, if he's doing it, why shouldn't I?
Yeah, that's the same thing I was wondering. And when you see those ticket prices, man, you're seeing ticket prices already going from $50 to $500. It's like, wow. I guess just to kind of break down the magnitude of what it is gaining a player like him, I guess, just kind of casual fans like myself, this is kind of like if LeBron James or that just relative to his sport, if he were to come to your team, right? That's kind of what it seems like if you want to break it down into relative terms.
Yeah, could you imagine the king, LBJ, even in his old age, going overseas and playing basketball for another country, it would be wild. People would go crazy over there. So I love the move for the country. I love the move internationally. I love the fact that it's going to put a spotlight on the MLS. I love all of it. Honestly, this is the kind of move that's a game changer. And like I said, 10, 20 years down the road, we might be talking about this move being the move that made the sport catch fire.
And I'm going to stick with that term when you said fire, right? Because the sport, I guess Miami as a whole is catching fire right now, especially tonight. So we go from, obviously, they signed Messi down to Inter Miami. He's going to be playing there. The Miami Heat tonight are going to be playing Game 3 of the NBA Finals against the Denver Nuggets. That series tied at 1. Miami looking to pull ahead in that series and show everybody that they mean business. I don't know. I mean, after coming out of Game 2, I'm feeling a little bit better about Miami's chances to win tonight's game and maybe even have a real chance in this series. What do you think?
So I think Miami will win one of their 2 home games. I don't know which one, I got to be honest, because it's not like they play outstandingly well on their court. But I do believe right now they are the team with the momentum. They're the most dangerous team, in my opinion, just because I keep saying it. They just don't care. They don't care what they have to do to win. They're going to do it, and they're going to do it right in your face. They're nasty, okay, because they are unforgiving at this point. They weren't supposed to be here, and so they're stealing everything. Yesterday we talked about Brittany Donaldson getting a seat at the table and eating with the men, the coaches on Quinn Snyder's team with the Hawks. Well, I'm not with the Hawks. The Heat, they are at the table right now eating at a table they weren't even supposed to be at.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy as you watch, Game 2 kind of surprised me. And I think, and like I said yesterday, I wonder if Denver in that series started to smell themselves a little bit, right? I mean, they blew through the Western Conference, blew through the Lakers, swept them, get to the NBA Finals, win Game 1 relatively easy. So I think it's just human nature at that point to just get a little bit maybe too full of yourself. The world's telling you how good you are. The world's talking about how good Jokic is. It was almost like a coronation after Game 1. Everyone just assumed that the Nuggets were going to walk to the NBA championship, and Miami's the kind of team, they're hearing all this stuff. They're seeing just sort of the praise that Denver's getting. They're watching all of the, they're listening to those interviews after Game 1 where the Nuggets were sounding so confident, and that feeds right into kind of what the Miami Heat is. And so in Game 2, they really just turned everything around. I mean, they turned up the aggressiveness. They turned up everything that we know the Miami Heat can do. They won Game 2. Now, the last thing you wanted, if you're the Nuggets, is for the Miami Heat to start feeling a little bit of confidence, because this is how they won a couple series in the Eastern Conference. This is how they beat Milwaukee. This is how they beat Boston. When you let Miami start to believe, they're a hard team to beat, and their will is so strong. Led by Jimmy Butler, and really led by just Pat Riley with that whole organization. It just always trickles down to they're always a tough, competitive team, and this is not what Denver won, in my opinion.
They are so scrappy, Scott. That's what I love about Miami. So scrappy. They'll beat you in transition. They'll beat you on defense. They'll be in your face, and like I said, unforgiving. That's what I like about this team. Just like I like it on the football field, I love it on the basketball court. There's nothing like good old defense. If you stick to it, you're going to win games. And Miami does such a good job at getting in opponents' faces and knocking them off their game. And listen, Denver's really good on offense, especially the Joker, who dropped 41 points in last game. But Miami has answers for the offense. When they face anyone, they have answers because they play such good defense, and they're so well conditioned. They move up and down the court without losing breath. It's really, really impressive. And Scott, I saw somewhere, and I told Fred this on Monday, that I think during this playoffs, when the Joker scores 40 points or more, they're 0-3. So he needs to get the ball to his men. But they have yet to win a game this postseason when he scored 40 plus.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense because Jokic is at his best when he's getting everybody involved. That was game one. I mean, Jokic was so dominant. I've never seen a guy dominate a basketball game by only scoring 6 points the way Jokic did in game one. In the first half of that game, he only had 6 points, and it just looked like they were totally dominant. And that's when he's at his most dangerous because if he's making everybody around him look better, if he's getting the ball to Michael Porter Jr., if he's getting the ball to Jamal Murray, and those guys are having good games and shooting the ball well, the Denver Nuggets team is almost impossible to beat. So I think Miami is almost not just conceding that Jokic is going to score, but I think they're okay with it. I think they're okay with Jokic getting 30, 40, 45 points as long as Porter doesn't have a big game, as long as Jamal Murray doesn't have a big game, as long as Kentavious Caldwell-Pope doesn't have a big game, because they know that Jokic alone can't beat them. But when you start letting those other pieces have big games, then that can beat you. So, look, that should be pretty fun tonight. Game 3 is always a pivotal game in every playoff series. So we'll see which way that swings. So we're over there right now at Truist Park. Obviously, the Braves got the win last night. They're looking to take tonight's game. But I think one of the more interesting things that kind of made some national attention from the game last night was Pete Alonso home run last night. And then he got to doing a little bit of talking, right, which probably was the wrong thing because they ended up losing.
Yeah, they ended up losing, but that home run was nice. Almost 450 feet in the air off of Bryce Elder, who leads the NL with a 2.26 ERA. Alonso leads the bigs with 22 home runs. So that man sure knows how to hit some things out the park. But listen, it was cool, okay? He hit that home run. He came around and he talked some smack and he said, throw it again, throw it again. He encouraged Bryce Elder, the youngster, to throw it again. So that was funny, but I like it, right? I like smack talking. That's what makes the game fun. And let's be honest, these two teams don't like each other. They're both in the NL East. They've never liked each other. I mean, there's no love lost there. So I wanted to keep going. Let's keep it up. But both of these players very good this season. And so this could be the start of some more, that adds to the rivalry a little bit. And I like that.
I know. I mean, to me, that's what makes a lot of these modern baseball players so fun, right? I mean, you used to hear about all these unwritten rules. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't celebrate a home run. You shouldn't try to bunt when you're up by a certain amount of runs. I mean, that stuff is garbage. This is 2023. We want to see entertainment. And I love stuff like that because that's what you see in basketball. That's what you see in football. You see guys really, really celebrating their accomplishments as they should because it's hard to hit a home run at the major league level. So I don't see any problem with a guy celebrating the fact that he did something good to help his team. But I think a lot of those old school guys might not like that sort of thing, but I love it. Look, I mean, but I guess one of those things I guess I will ask a question, though, is should he be prepared for his head to be thrown at tonight? I'm just saying.
I mean, listen, if you're going to talk smack, you got to be ready to back it up. So talk that talk, but you're going to have to walk that walk. So I think Pete Alonso is man enough. He'll be able to handle anything that comes his way tonight. And hopefully the Mets give us a good game. I mean, I just want to see a really competitive game between two NL East rivals. They are so far back from the Braves. The Braves have been in first place. The division is just not good. But, we just talked about Miami. What's going on with Inter Miami? The Heat right now playing well. You got the Panthers playing well. So who knows? Miami right now is behind the Braves in the NL East, about 3 games, I think, 3 games back. And so who knows? The fish might catch up because right now, being in Miami right now, that's the place to be when it comes to the sports world. And not often do we say that because usually Florida sports teams, trust me, I know, disappoint you. But right now, the Panthers and the Heat might enter Miami. Let's get it.
Well, I wonder is that one of the teams that Trae Young might want to go to, right? Because if anybody has been keeping up with Trae Young and his social media accounts, you will see that he scrubbed any paraphernalia or just anything with Atlanta Hawks affiliation to it. And so that of course catches everyone's attention. They say, hey, look, Trae Young scrubbed his media of the Atlanta Hawks. So we know, I mean, that's what you do nowadays, right? When you're not content with your organization, when you're unhappy, maybe when you want to get traded. That's what they do nowadays. They scrub their social media. So Do you think that means Trae Young is out?
I'm not buying into it. Athletes do this all the time. You just said it. I'm not reading into it. He's probably stressed out or frustrated about something, and he didn't tell me that, so don't take that for my word. I'm just giving my opinion here. He's probably showing some kind of discontent towards the organization. He wants to catch their attention, and obviously he's doing that because we're talking about it. I don't know what he's unhappy about. I just know at the end of the season, after they lost to Boston, I apologize, a bug just fell on me. He said that he was excited to play for for Quinn Snyder. He was excited to play for him, and he was looking forward to the future and to get coached by him, and that he thought that Quinn Snyder, I said it yesterday, was going to win a championship for this city. So that's what he told us at the end of the season. That was a long time ago. A lot's happened since then. But that's the last I heard from Trae. And so that told me that perhaps he planned on staying in Atlanta. And if the team wanted to get rid of him, and this is an if, again, nobody's told me this, if they wanted to get rid of him at any point during the season, I think that changed when he shot that 3 in Boston to force a game to come back here. I think when he made that shot, when it went in, we saw like old school Trae Young. And I think when the organization saw that and the front office saw that, they were reminded of what the face of the franchise could do. So I thought that was a pivotal moment in the possible trade for Trae Young. I thought it went from, yeah, Trae Young might get traded, to he's not going to. My opinion.
No, well, your opinion is strong, I believe, especially in this city. I'm sure everyone wanted to know where you stood, but look, I mean, as far as where I stand, it just seems like this is headed for a divorce pretty soon, and I think that's a shame because Trae Young is such a talented basketball player, and I don't think Atlanta, the Hawks organization, really hasn't been the kind of organization that stars flock to. So, yeah, I mean, I think they need to do everything they can to make this work. If he's unhappy, find out what's making him unhappy. Let's make it right. Let's get everybody on the same page because Trae Young is the Hawks' #1 way to be able to get back to being the kind of team they want to be, which is an NBA championship contender. And you only do that when your superstars are happy. Trae Young is what I consider to be a borderline superstar, especially when he's playing his best ball. So I think they need to do whatever it takes to make him happy within reason. I mean, don't just get rid of everybody on the team. But yeah, I think within reason, let's just find out what's bothering him. Let's get it taken care of, and let's get everybody on the same page because this team is too talented to be going home in the first round of the NBA playoffs. So I don't know what it is, but we'll see, right? So let's find out what's
we will see, that's right. Well, we were going to talk about this, but we every day for anybody listening or watching, everyone kind of discusses, and there's multiple people who discuss our topics for the day, like what are the big topics, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
This was one of the topics we were going to talk about, so I figured I might as well share it with people just in case they don't know. Avery Williams with the Falcons, he tore his ACL at Mercedes-Benz Stadium last week when they were practicing during OTAs. He will more than likely miss the 2023 season. He's a good specialist for the Falcons. Punt return, kickoffs, that's when he shines. That's when he does a really good job. Scott, I'm saying all this to say, gosh, does it suck for that to happen during this time of the year. Like during OTAs, to get injured and to not be able to play with your teammates the rest of the year. It's awful. It's awful. And on turf.
Yeah, I think that sucks. I saw that, and unfortunately, every time an NFL season rolls around, you start to wonder who's going to go down for the season because it always happens in OTAs and it happens more in training camp. Unfortunately, you get injuries like that, and it really just affects the way the season is going to be played, right? Because there's going to be key players. I mean, he was supposed to be a pretty key player for the Falcons, and he was last year, a very versatile guy, so that's going to affect what their team is going to look like in 2023. So, all those people out there, they'll look at off-season workouts. Now a player just got injured for the season when you look at in off-season workouts. So that's probably going to call into question. You know, it always happens this time of year. Should we be doing these off-season workouts? Is it too much? Are guys putting too much pressure on their bodies, on their knees and everything? I don't know. I mean, I think, but when something like this happens, it lends itself to that conversation.
Yeah, and like, is there a good answer? Because teams need time together during the off season, but is time together staying away from the field or doing very minimal things on the field? You know, it's like, it's going to be the $1 million question until football doesn't get played. And gosh, I don't want to be in a world where football doesn't get played.
Yeah, look. I mean, I think guys need to work at their craft. Guys need to get better. Guys need to be together in the offseason and everything like that. But I think playing football or being on the football field into June is a bit much, especially when training camp begins in like a month and a half. I don't think they should be playing football this time of year right now in June. I think they should be relaxing, letting their bodies heal, get ready for the season. I do think some of these NFL teams do a bit much in the offseason. I mean, besides, it's just football. I mean, it's not. This is what the guys been doing their whole life. So I don't think they need to be on the field working out this much in the offseason, but I get it. Look, so let me get to my what's on my mind. So
what you're thinking about tonight.
So I'm a big video game guy. Like you always know, I'm always doing stuff with the Hawks esports team and everything like that. So the new Madden cover is going to be, a lot of people thought it was going to be Jalen Hurts, but the new Madden cover, Madden 24, the big video game, it's one of the most popular games in the world, it's going to be Josh Allen. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, it's cool. I would have rather seen Jalen Hurts, but whatever.
That's it?
That's it. That's really all that's on my mind. I saw it. I wanted to put that as one of the topics, but our producer Brett booted it. You know, so I mean, so I had to bring it back for what's on my mind. That's all. I mean, I'm a big time Madden player.
But like, that's cool, and that's it. Usually, you have like some explanation. I mean, I think if Jalen Hurts was on the cover, he maybe would have got cursed. So he was like, no, not me. Isn't that the point of this?
That's true. That's true. It's the Madden jinx. So that's one thing, too. I mean, it's kind of like the Madden jinx. So, yeah, maybe it's better that he wasn't on the cover so now he can have a good productive season. And we'll see what happens with Josh Allen because we know what that Madden jinx does. But I'm not trying to jinx him. I hope he does well.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you, Emily. Thanks for hanging in there. We hope the Braves can get a win tonight. That's Sports Tonight on a Wednesday. We'll be back here tomorrow night, discuss some more cool sports topics. We're out of here.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. Have a good night.
Appreciate you.